The Special Assistant to the President on Prosecution, Okoye Obono-Obla, has confirmed that one of the judges recently recalled from suspension by the National Judicial Council will be charged this week with offenses of receiving gratification from lawyers. The unnamed judge is alleged to have received bribes worth 90 million naira from 100 lawyers. With us in the studio now to discuss this issue is lawyer Ahmed Abass. Ahmed, thank you very much indeed for coming.
Thank you.
Well, of course, I'm sure you read it, where the man has alleged that that the judges were recalled, were deliberately recalled or cleared by the NJC. Do you agree with that submission, that they were deliberately cleared by the NJC?
Absolutely, because what's happening in the present Nigerian state is solidarity. Because if one judge goes down, the likelihood that others will go down is certain. So it's like trying to protect an estate. The same way the Senate has been trying to protect, it's an institutional conspiracy. It's obvious that most of the institutions are corrupt and they are deliberately trying to protect their estate. It's a solidarity issue.
So all right, but the NJC, let me come in here, IK. The NJC said that these judges were not charged, so there was no reason to just leave them on record. And then it seems that by the action of the NJC, the EFCC and, of course, the presidency have somehow been pushed to act, because after that, Justice Nganjua has been charged to court on 14 counts of corruption charges, and now this unnamed judge is going to be charged today as well. Don't you think so?
You know, this is my take. We are actually in a moral crisis when people occupying very sensitive public offices have question marks on their integrity. Decency demands that you allow them to stay out of office and get their name cleared before reinstating them. In civilized crime, that is what happens. Like, you have a Senate president that is also having questions to answer. There is nothing stopping him in the interest of public morality to say, look, excuse me, my hands are clean. For the sanctity of this office, let me step aside and get my name cleared. And if my name is cleared, I can come back and assume my responsibility. But when you remain in office and you are using all manner of tactics, that is very obvious, trying to bog down a judicial system, arraigning about 100 and something senior advocates, legal practitioners and senior advocates, trying to truncate a criminal system, it simply sends a wrong message.
Right.
Because I should be in a hurry to clear my name if I don't have anything to hide, rather than engaging the services of morally bankrupt legal practitioners who deliberately throw in spanners in the cog of criminal justice system. If you are my client and you don't have a case to answer, I will be in a hurry to ensure that we clear your name so that you can go back
to work.
But when you see counsels, legal practitioners, senior advocates deliberately clogging down the cause of justice, it's simply to tell you they have something to hide.
Now, before now,
yes,
we have been talking about reform in Nigeria's justice system.
Yes.
And the former Attorney General of the Federation, Mahmoud, applied some reforms. But as it is at the moment, does it seem like it is working, some of these reforms that were introduced in the system?
For me, it is not working. There is nothing wrong with some of the procedures and some of the processes, some of the rules and regulations that we have. Even the laws we have, there's absolutely nothing wrong. It is just the quality of the men that are applying those laws and those rules every profession has ethics guiding those professions. If we all adhere strictly to the ethics guiding each profession, you'll have a decent society. Those ethics there, those ethics guiding each profession is for the sanity of the society. Because when you do not have ethics, what you simply means is anything goes. As officers, ministers in the temple of justice, we were taught and were told money shouldn't be the only motivating factor for a legal practitioner, because we were taught to be social engineers, pointing the society where it ought to be going and calling the society to attention when it is going astray. But most times, I say this with great sense of responsibility, but without apology. We have legal practitioners who do not have any business being in that profession. They are co-conspirators. And many of the senior advocates, men of integrity, the Sages, they've said it several. The Falanos, they've said it. We have men and women in the profession that have conspired with the corrupt element of the political class, the corrupt political class, to shortchange Nigerian, twist the law, tell lie, because as ministers in the temple of justice, you are supposed to be a minister. You are not permitted by the ethics of our calling to lie to the court. But most of our senior advocates, they lie to the court. And even some of them bring a frivolous application, because that is one of the major reasons why the system is bogged down. Until we peg the same way election tribunals have timeline within which you must start and conclude your case. This endless approach to criminal trial will not solve our will not help this nation. We must have a time lapse so that you know that your application for adjournment will not be frivolous one. There will be real life-saving application. But a situation where you can start bringing preliminary applications from the High Court, and once a ruling is given, you are not satisfied, you go to the Court of Appeal, from the Court of Appeal to the Supreme, and you come back and invent another preliminary application. It's an endless one. It won't help us. All
right, so in the Nigerian system now, that of course the judiciary to a large extent is perceived as corrupt, what is the solution? Some are suggesting a special court to handle criminal cases in the country, but then judicial members will still be the ones in charge. So are you hopeful as a legal practitioner that now that the war against corruption could be won in the country?
It can be won. There is absolutely nothing impossible within the domain of humanity that humans cannot solve. All man-made problems can be solved by humans. Right. It's just simply required a radical approach, and we must constantly look for strong men, because our institutions are weak today, because they are people run by people who do not even have the values required to build a strong culture in those institutions. We need to build our capacity, because some of the cases we lose, even from the magistrate court to the High Court, most of them are based on lack of diligent preparation. Because in law, substantive law, defining the offenses, procedural law, defining how you approach and adduce your evidence, you could have facts establishing the commission of a crime. But in the process of marshalling and arranging clinically and presenting your evidence, if you bungle your presentation, the court is not a Father Christmas, and the court will not help you to present your case. So you could actually have facts establishing that a man committed an offense, but in the process of approaching the court, you could bungle your presentation and you lost that case. So capacity building is very key. So even if we need to solicit international help, EFCC did it during Rubadu. They collaborated with the FBIs and so many other international organizations to build our capacity, so that we know there are corrupt politicians, corrupt judges, and there are corrupt lawyers, and we need to do our homework very well.
Yeah, we do not have time anymore. But just before you go, very quickly, there is some worry at the moment that the Nigerian legal system is becoming a system where technicalities are taking priority over substance. Are you worried about that?
I'm absolutely very worried. Very worried. And like I said from beginning, there's a conspiracy here. The federal government, I'm glad, said they are going to appeal even the Saraki case because they have overwhelming evidence. And secondly, there was one issue that I saw. Saraki was accused of running a foreign account while he was governor. They brought in the head of fund transfer from GT to be the prosecution witness. He came, from what I read, to say the documents required to substantiate those transfers have been lost in the fire incident. To me, that's comical. The presidency should go after that institution. Don't they have a correspondence bank?
All right. Because of time, we'll have to stop it there. Thank you for your analysis. Ahmed Abass, a legal practitioner. Thank you for coming to TVC Studio.
Thank you.